Every single thing I create is meant to produce the most meaningful contribution that I can deliver. I want to give people that glad-hearted certainty that comes when life is wisely navigated so that people flourish in every possible way. Hey folks, Jonathan Smith here with another video intended to help you multiply and protect your wealth in and through real estate. And in today's video, I wanted to answer a question that I get almost on a daily basis now, and that is, John, I need to understand mortgage forbearance and whether I should take it. It's currently November 16th, and we have been in COVID for months now, and yet forbearance is still an issue that could be relevant for many of you if you have not agreed or decided to take it. And according to the numbers, there are thousands of people that qualify for mortgage forbearance that have not taken it. And the questions that I'm consistently getting are really evidence to that. And so I wanted to shoot a video for you, the clients that I appreciate so very much. And perhaps if you're not a client, I'm hoping that this will help you as well as to whether or not you should get mortgage forbearance or not. And it's my belief that if you can qualify for mortgage forbearance, this could significantly help you advance your financial position. And here's why. How would you like not to have to pay your mortgage for 12 months and not have to pay that back for 30 years? How would you like to invest that money into high interest investments, or perhaps use that money to pay off high interest debt that you could, because of those things, end up way ahead financially speaking? So many of you have been asking me this exact thing. What are the implications? How could this help you? And my goal personally is to help any of you and all of you that qualify for mortgage forbearance to get mortgage forbearance. And in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step process so that you know if you're eligible, and also pitfalls that I think you should avoid. Now, before I get into this, I want to make sure you hear me say, test everything I say, hold fast to what's good, weigh the cost, do your own research. Please read between any lines so that you can make the best decision for you. I've done the hard work and researched this for you so that I'm giving you the most condensed version that I possibly can think of, so that it helps you avoid the work that you don't have to do. And hopefully this helps you make the best decision. But please do your own research, read between any of the lines. And now let's get right into it. So, should you take mortgage forbearance? My personal belief is that every property owner is entitled to take mortgage forbearance if they feel any uncertainty at all concerning COVID. And here's the thing, and I'm not going to mince any words here. The CARES Act specifically says that if you state you have a financial hardship related to COVID, you can apply for mortgage forbearance. That means you don't need any documentation. There's no application. There's no income verification. Zero. Nada. Now, this doesn't mean you should lie. Neither would I encourage you to do that. But it helps you to know how you might qualify. And in my opinion, if your income is relatively the same, or you're worried about it potentially going down in the future because of COVID, if you're worried that your job might not come back, if you've been furloughed, certainly if you've been laid off, you should be absolutely taking mortgage forbearance. Or if you have rental properties and you're not sure if your tenants can pay you, if you have any uncertainty at all, that's a form of financial hardship according to the CARES Act. So you have to make the financial decision for yourself as to whether or not you have any hardship related to COVID at all. If you do, there is nothing required of you, period. In fact, the CARES Act itself, page 210 of HR 748, the CARES Act itself says that you have the right to request forbearance of up to 180 days, and then that shall be extended for an additional period of another 100 days at the request of you, the borrower. The point is that the CARES Act says you have the right, so long as you affirm a financial hardship, to request 180 plus 100 another 80 days, and that is your right. This is a law signed into law on March 27th of 2020. And what it specifically says is that upon receiving a request for forbearance, this is a quote, under subsection B, the servicer shall, with no additional documentation required, other than that, the borrower's attestation of a financial hardship with no fees, no penalties or interest beyond the normally scheduled amounts, had you made your payments on time, provide the forbearance up to 180 days, which may be extended 180 days at the request of the borrower, end quote. They don't say it with the same kind of emotion or smiles, but it's that simple. All you have to do is make the request, which you can see for yourself under Section B in the CARES Act, which, by the way, is Googleable for you. Google it. You can read it yourself. Subsection B, page 210, you can see it. But it goes on to say, quote, that a borrower with federally backed loan experiencing a financial hardship directly or indirectly related to COVID-19 may request forbearance. Direct or indirect, folks, it doesn't matter. They've left the door wide open for you. Now, on the prior page, page 209 to be exact, you'll see that the covered period of forbearance means that you can ask this for this forbearance. Now get this, because again, it's November 16th right now. We're months into COVID. We're months into forbearance being offered. But what it specifically says is that you can ask for this forbearance 120 days after the date on which the national emergency regarding COVID terminates. And by the way, as of today, it has not terminated. So what that means for you is you have at least 120 days from now to request forbearance. So if you haven't requested it yet as of now, you still have at least 120 days from today. The only time these 120 days start ticking is when they terminate the national emergency, which I believe was instituted on March 12th or March 23rd. Just fact check me on that. But let's be honest. When I checked the active COVID cases for November 14th, there were 158,000 cases. The emergency is not going to be ended anytime soon. So here's what this means for you. This is really liberal as to what a financial hardship is. Well, John, I'm in debt and COVID is making me really uncertain. They don't care. They don't even ask. They're not supposed to ask, at least. And this comes down to your moral compass and your values. Do you even have a remote element of uncertainty, a level of uncertainty? Then according to the CARES Act, you can ask and should ask for mortgage forbearance. This, folks, is basically a version of free stimulus money that homeowners get the benefit of now. Businesses got the PPP, people got stimulus and unemployment, property owners get mortgage forbearance. Now, let's talk about the second part to this video as to whether this is right for you and whether or not you qualify. A couple things to say here. If you want to buy real estate as an investor or as a purchaser, retail purchaser, mortgage forbearance may not be right for you. And here's why. If you want to buy real estate or refinance within 3 months of being in forbearance, you're going to have problems. Let's say you go and you want to buy a property. There's a house you want to buy. You're going to have issues because if you're in forbearance, you have to have made your payments for 3 months, and then, and only then, you can qualify for a loan. Now, make sure you confirm this with your chosen lender because every situation is unique. However, in principle, this is my understanding that you have to have made your payments for 3 months before you're eligible for a refinance or a loan. If you just took out a new loan, you just purchased a home, you probably won't be able to do this either because you signed a few docs saying that you're not eligible for mortgage forbearance because they started doing this in March. The banks knew this. If you just purchased, you're probably not going to get too far. Might as well try anyway though. So if you're not buying, if you're not refinancing, then let's get you started. Here's the step-by-step process that you need to go through in order to get mortgage forbearance. Number one, get your latest mortgage bill. Get your rental property, your condo, whatever. If you already know that you have a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conventional loan, VA loan or FHA loan. You may not even have to contact your mortgage servicer. Sorry for the background noise. I'm at home here, like everybody is at COVID, and in your home office, you have those lovely giggles of your kids outside playing with your dog, and that's what's going on now. So forgive the background noise. So call your mortgage servicer. Your servicer, by the way, is who you pay your mortgage to. Pretty simple. If you don't know what kind of loan you have, contact your servicer and ask them this specific question. Write this down. Is my loan a federally backed loan or a GSE backed mortgage? Stands for government sponsored entity. If the answer is yes, you can keep moving along. If the answer is no, then you might still be able to ask for forbearance, but you're probably not going to be protected by the terms in the CARES Act, which means that you're going to be stuck with the term that your mortgage servicer gives you. Make sure you ask for this first, because some banks right now are not being forthright. Get this answer before you ask for forbearance, just so that you know the banks have to pay for the first 4 months of losses. They're covering the first 4. They don't want this stuff. They don't want you to make this call. They don't want me to make this video. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to prevent you and me from doing this. They're trying to make this hard for you to do on purpose, because it's money out of their pockets and they are in business to make money. Second, we got to know the terms for your loan. Now that you know what kind of loan you have, I'd really encourage you to go to the link in the description below. It's going to give you a guide on the left side. When you go to the website, you'll be able to scroll through and you can see that if you have a USD loan, go here. If you have an FHA loan, go here. If you have a VA loan, go here, etc., etc. And you can go through and see what the exact terms are for each loan. If you have a VA loan, I kind of feel like you got a little screwed here. They don't have as many good options for you. They give you a suite of loss mitigation options. Basically, they're not going to make you do a lump sum payment, but they are going to put you into some sort of VA payback plan. It's just not as good. Similar thing for USDA. If you have a USDA loan and you're unable to make mortgage payments, it says that the lender should evaluate the borrower for all available loss mitigation options. Also, not as ideal. USDA and VA, not the best. FHA, Freddie and Fannie, it's money in the bank. It's done. Take it all day long. Now, once you have this information, and only when you have this information, should you contact your bank and specifically request mortgage forbearance. Now, I'm going to show you some pitfalls in just a minute. You need to be aware of these. But remember, mortgage forbearance, requesting mortgage forbearance does not require any documentation, employment verification, anything. You want to request 180 days because it's your legal right. And then remember, you have the option to request another 180 days. And if that's what you want to do, I'd recommend put it in your calendar 5 days ahead of time and make sure you don't miss that date. Just put it in, forget about it, trust your Google Calendar to prompt you. Next step, going into mortgage forbearance and credit. Listen to me very carefully. Only stop making your payments when you have written confirmation that you are in a mortgage forbearance plan. You may have your credit score slightly affected when it's recorded that you're in forbearance. I hate that that's the fact, but because the CARES Act says that you're not supposed to have a derogatory mark on your credit, if it does affect your credit, it's temporary, it's not a late. As long as you were current before, you're fine. But if you were late, I hate to say this, but you're still late. One of the things I've seen recently is people stop paying their mortgage before they get written confirmation. Don't do that. Wait until you have written confirmation, and only once you have written confirmation should I recommend that you proceed with mortgage forbearance and putting a pause on your payments. Now, let's talk about pitfalls. It's common right now that banks are saying that you have 3 months. That's what they're saying. And they're saying that because they know that they have to pay a full 4 months, and they're pressuring you so that they don't have to. You're going to have to play ball with them here. I'd encourage you to know exactly what the CARES Act says, exactly what dates you called, exactly what you said. Put this in notes, put it in a safe place, take pictures of your notes. Make sure that you tell them that you know exactly what the law says. You have a right to 180 days, and then at the request of the borrower, you have the right for another 180 days. I'd even email them any and all documentation, notes from your calls. If you need to email them the full document of the CARES Act, feel free to do that. Make sure their department is aware, and make sure you don't sign anything that's different from what the CARES Act says. That's how they get you. Don't get bullied or bamboozled by any special forbearance plans or loss mitigation packages. There aren't any. And if there are, it's because the banks are trying to avoid what the CARES Act specifically requires them to do. They have to give you forbearance. Just ask for forbearance, consult the CARES Act plan. Do not sign anything that's incongruent with the CARES Act. There's a lot of greedy corporate bullying going on right now, and be careful of this junk. It is ridiculous. So make sure that you read between the lines. Make sure that you test everything. Hold fast to what's good. Be smart. Be calculated about the decisions that you're making. Make sure you consult the CARES Act. Go ahead and fact check anything and everything that I've posted in this video. Please do so that you can make the best decision for you. I've done the research to kind of help condense the information. Now you have a step-by-step process of which you can follow to discern, do you qualify and will it make sense for you? Make sure you know the implications here. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next video, I'll see you then. Take care.